I was on summer break, and since I'd gotten a fair amount of cash from tutoring over the last semester, I decided to go visit some friends in Pennsylvania where I grew up. I was hanging out with Heather, and she had her friend Megan over, and Megan was scared of pretty much everything, from ghosts to clowns. If she so much as heard a floorboard creaking in the middle of the night, she'd scream, "Who's that?" So, we decided to play a little prank on her. God, how I wish I could take it back. We agreed to visit this old abandoned house on the outskirts of town. My idea was to go around dusk, but Megan's condition was that she'd only go if we went in the middle of the day, as if that would make any difference. So, beforehand, I got a hold of an old buddy of mine from grade school who used to be notorious with pranks, and he was eager to be in on it. The plan was that he'd dress up like a corpse, makeup and all, and he'd hide in this abandoned house in one of the rooms until we got there, parking far away so that Megan didn't see his car upon entering. Then, of course, he'd pop out and scare her. We got to the house around 2 p.m. Everything was going as planned. And man, this house was disgusting. There was mold all over the walls and ceilings, and the stench. The stench of death was in there. We went to the basement first, but of course we couldn't get Megan even halfway down the stairs. At the bottom were a bunch of animal corpses, like something had set up a lair there and had a feast. There was mold all over the walls down there, too. And I could swear I could see a face in the mold, grinning as if staring hungrily at the nearest pile of cat corpses. Anyway, Megan wanted to leave, but we insisted that she had to check out the upstairs first. And then we'd go. We had plenty of daylight, we assured her. So she came, mostly just because she didn't want to wait outside alone. We checked each room as we walked upstairs, and God, there was actually a lot of them. It was about the fourth room I looked into that I saw my friend standing there, staring at the door. I pretended to have seen nothing and continued down the hall, when I heard Megan scream from behind me. She just bolted right out of the house. It was hilarious. Heather and I stood there for a moment, laughing. She said she should go catch up with her to make sure she's okay. I agreed, of course, and decided I'd use that time of distraction to go and talk to my friend. But when I looked back into the room, he wasn't there. I had passed the room, and when Megan screamed, I turned back towards it as I watched her run down the hall. So I would have noticed him leaving, as the room only had one door. Naturally, I was perplexed, so I called him on my phone, but it just kept ringing until it went to his voicemail. I hung up and called him again, and that's when I heard it. Off in the distance, a strange melody. I followed the sound while holding the phone to my ear, and it led me to the very end of the upstairs hallway. I looked in the last room, and immediately held my breath. The mold had completely covered all the walls, and what looked like veins extended through the floor, reaching out from all the sides to the middle, where there lay an oblong pool of freshly spilled blood. Around the pool on all sides were torn, bloody clothes, and in the middle of that pool, a cell phone, open and ringing. I didn't have to look to know that it was my number showing on its display. I closed my phone, and the melody stopped. I've never told anyone what happened that day, not even Heather. I've barely even thought of it until now. To think what happened in that house before we got there.